Alright, so there's a Globku certified banger, right? Globku goes to say, Project L will change fighting games forever. 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 No. Alright. I gave this a watch, a gander. Now we're gonna watch it together. I think I'm gonna move myself to this corner of the room. Nobody knows I'm a stream. Alright, let's watch this.
The community anxiously awaits the release of Street Fighter 6, a game that we talked about on the channel as a game that is doing everything right. But what if I told you that everything Street Fighter 6 can achieve only pales in comparison to what Project L, the League of Legends fighting game, can actually do? I knew Project L could be big, but now that I've sat down and ran the numbers, I don't think anyone is ready for this. Right now, it feels like Street Fighter 6 is going to take over the world. Having recently gone to UFA,
yeah, Street Fighter 6 is doing a lot of things correctly.
In Europe, everyone I talked to shared this sentiment. We cannot wait for Street Fighter 6. And this was true no matter who I talked to.
Handsome gamer only,
dude.
Handsome gamers only.
Tekken players, fighters, Strive, everyone. And it's well deserved because, like I said, Street Fighter 6 is doing everything right. We've got good rollback netcode as experienced by the closed beta. We've got crossplay on all platforms. We've got features for hardcore fighting game players like online ranked, spectator mode for tournaments, a very robust training mode with frame data, recording options, and everything else you could want. And we got casual features to bring in new players like
yeah, this is basically the cat.
There's always a but mode and horrible net bring in new players like story mode complete with character creation, some silly game modes, and an easy input system.
Yeah, fun silly game modes are always a plus.
We have a checklist of things we'd like to see, and whenever games do like 5 out of those 10 things on the checklist, it does pretty okay. For instance, I love Fighters, but it's got a terrible story mode and horrible netcode.
Yeah, there's no
has a great
offline
netcode, but boy, it's hard to
there's
get
nothing for the offline people.
Things different from everybody else, so in a way, it's lacking that accessibility. I love Guilty Gear Strive, but that lobby system and the towers instead of a normal
worst lobby system I've ever seen in my life.
Of a developer being stubborn despite the community's feedback. There's always a but.
Ooh, However,
Street Fighter 6 is not doing everything right. It's going above and beyond, doing things that we never even thought of asking, but they're generally great ideas. We didn't need
the fact that if a the fact that if a connection is so bad that both of you can just be like, I'm out of here. $1 million idea. Why is this not in any other fighting game? Why did it take this long? The amount of times I've Alt F4'd or just turned off or reset my console to get out of a terrible match. It's genius, dude.
Visualizer, all we asked for was a number, but this makes frame data so much more accessible.
Yeah, that's
to
great.
Everyone.
The bar,
and it's because of all these things
for
that
the
everyone
sweats
is looking forward to Street Fighter 6, and we haven't had a fighting game that everyone is playing for a really long time. It will bring the fighting game community together. Even if everybody keeps playing their own main games, everyone will be on Street Fighter 6. And that brings me to Project L. Street Fighter 6 has all the hype right now because the game is real. We've played it. We know that they're delivering on their promises. Project L doesn't feel real yet. We're still too far away.
Still real to me. Damn it!
They are real to me!
They're doing rollback netcode, which is no surprise since the game's director is Tom Cannon, the creator of GGPO. And not only are they using rollback, they're using Riot Redirect, which is a system Riot's been working on for years for optimizing latency, and they currently use it in League of Legends as well as Valorant. And finally, gameplay looks fun.
So just to go a little bit more into that, what they had said, if you don't remember in the original video, apparently the system is so complex and so good that, let's say I have a terrible connection, and you, Sasuke Uchiha 69420, have a great connection, right? Typically, in fighting games, if one person has a bad connection, both players suffer. But according to them, their system is going to have it to where only the person with a terrible connection suffers, and the other person will not face any repercussions. Is that true? I don't know. Do I want it to be true? Yes, very much so, yes, because there's a lot of Wi-Fi warriors out there. You know what I'm talking about.
It looks so cool. That said, there's no word on single player content or what training mode looks like or what are the online game modes. We don't even know if there will be crossplay, so it's not a real full game.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, of course they have to keep the hype going, right? They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. They'd be like, damn, we have nothing else to announce. They still have yet to say anything about crossplay. They still have yet to say anything about new characters, all the mechanics. We don't even know what the UI looks, so there's definitely a lot there holding off to keep the hype going because the game's still at least 2 years out.
Yet. Project L is, however, doing something that even Street Fighter 6 isn't, which is going free to play. That has worked very well for Riot so far, but in fighting games, we don't have a lot of free to play examples.
Let it be known, and he actually brings this up, but we're going to compare the numbers to this video. This video came out in Alright, so this video came out 2 weeks ago. To be specific, November 23rd, right? So, and then they just had like a new balance patch come out, right? So, and he's gonna show these numbers too. 1,700 people playing multiverses in the past 24 hours. This game had 153k at all time, free to play. It looked like it was gonna do great until the dev team did everything that they could possibly do wrong. Everything that could have gone wrong for the game did. All right, it did. So let's continue.
Only a handful of fighting games have been able to cross that 10 million threshold in the entire history of fighting games. Above 10 million, we got MK11 and MKX
of course,
with 12
those
million
games sell
each.
like candy.
Smash Brawl
They
with
die fast, but they sell
13.3,
like candy.
Street Fighter 2 with 15.5.
Well, Street Fighter 2 has been out for like
Smash
30
Bros.
years.
Ultimate with a staggering 28.8 million. With Project L being free to play, making projections based on sales is hard. But luckily, we did have a recent launch of a free to play fighting game, and that was Multiverses. And that will help us bridge the gap between paid and free to play. According to Steam charts, Multiverses had at a single point in time 150.
This was 2 weeks ago, and there's a drop off of 1,200 people in the 24-hour peak. It's man.
53,000 players actively playing the game, which made it the most played fighting game in history on Steam ever. Of the games we mentioned, Dragon Ball FighterZ had the record at 44,000 players.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Disclaimer, these are Steam numbers. We can't compare this to games like Smash because Nintendo will never release those numbers. So congrats, Multiverses, you win because Nintendo doesn't want to play. And I would argue the main platform where people play Multiverses isn't even on the PC. The game has crossplay,
for the
I
consoles.
bet the majority is on consoles. So the first big fighting game to try free to play broke the record of the most concurrent players by a lot. Surely that's enough to prove that free to play is the future and it will be much more successful than the previous model. Well, Multiverses had a big drop off. If you check Steam charts now, it has around 1,000 to 3,000 players daily, which compared to those big launch numbers, that's a big deal. Which is still not bad compared to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which currently has around 1,000 players daily. It's just a much bigger drop than where they were before. And again, we're just looking at Steam numbers. We can't see console numbers.
You also have to consider the following. Dragon Ball has been out for almost 5 years now. And, well, actually, let's see. How much does Dragon Ball have? 1.3k in the past 24 hours. Yeah, it's not bad for a game that's 5 years old compared to a game that's not even 5 months old, if I recall correctly.
It does pale in comparison to a game like Brawl, which still consistently has 13 to 14,000 active players, but that's a goddamn unicorn. So you can conclude that yes, a lot of players will check out your game because it's free to play, but a very small number will stick with it.
Yeah,
So
retention is the
like
hard
buying
part.
fake followers on Twitter. But I don't think the free to play was the reason why the drop off happened. I reached out to Avatar Yaya, who's a lot more in touch with the Multiverses community, and free to play may have had some influence on how bloated that initial number was, but the drop off seems to be mainly caused by a few issues that took too long to be fixed. The game had rollback, but the servers were super unstable. If you played on PS4
terrible.
or Xbox
Worst
One
netcode I've ever
and you
played
were
in
a crossplay match with a new generation of consoles or PC, the match would start, but you would be stuck on the loading screen. You could hear the match going, but you can see the match going. And it's getting new characters at a very good pace, but not enough content around those characters. It launched with only quick play and private lobbies, didn't even have ranked matches until recently, and it's definitely getting content now, but it's maybe too late.
Who would have say,
free to play doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, great numbers at the start.
Yeah, whenever that happens, Sehan.
Ultimately,
But we're definitely gonna be waiting.
Those players. And now that we've established that, here is our
and you know, there's other things that were wrong with it too, right? Just to go into the bad netcode, it was one-sided rollback. Somebody would be like, "Oh, it was good for me." Well, yeah, that's because you're closer to the server. They're based on their servers, but their servers are terrible. It wasn't peer-to-peer. It was peer-to-server. And it would choose either whatever server, like East Coast. When you're on the West Coast, terrible. West Coast people, complete shambles, right? Terrible, 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 terrible. East Coast people would be fine. You would just teleport into the blast zone. It was bad. The games would desync if they were on console and you were on PC with the crossplay. It was just everything that could have gone wrong in that game did. No content, still no content. That game gets patched like every month. Yeah, it gets patched every month. What could have been?
How Project L can do compared to this. Here's the numbers we have. Currently, League of Legends has an average of 13 million players every day. You see that Multiverses record of 150
You could put every fighting game's max concurrent players together since the beginning of mankind, and we still wouldn't reach that number. Pathetic.
peak, League of Legends average is that times 80. Now, obviously, you can't expect all League of Legends players to transition over to the fighting games. Some would say not even a fraction will move over, because that's also what they said about Valorant. League players will never move to
my guess is
shooter,
1
now
to
Valorant
2%.
has around 2 million players every day. It's not 13 million, but it's a good chunk of that. And that's not just League players, obviously. Valorant was good enough to pull people from Counter-Strike and Overwatch. And Valorant came out 2 years ago. Still has 2 million players daily. That's impressive. So let's say a tenth of that plays.
That's my man.
Shooters are still a lot more popular.
A tenth? That's a lot. That's a lot, bro. That is some wishful thinking. A tenth of the League community will play Project L, and I assume stick with it, right? That's very wishful thinking.
Than fighting games. So we can't expect the same number as Valorant. So divided by 10, that would still put the active player base of Project L at 200,000 active players. That's not launch numbers, that is sustained over time, provided the game does everything.
Yeah, this is a 1v1 fight game. There's no team to blame your loss on as far as we know. That's very wishful thinking. I want Globku to be right. That'd be great. Imagine a fighting game with 200,000 average players at all times. That'd be phenomenal. Oh my god. I would be bricked up for the rest of my life. I would have to go to the doctor every day. It's very wishful thinking. You know, I would at most be 50k to 100k on average, right? Concurrent players, and that's between all the fighting game communities and some people that come from League and Val. I think that's me still being kind of generous. Like something sustainable after the first 6 months.
Right. Sustained over time players are more than the peak of multiverses on Steam. And I think cutting Valorant's number down to a tenth is a pretty conservative guess, because Project L might not be confined to PC. They haven't announced consoles yet, but I think it only makes sense. Riot is doing a great job of making League bigger than the game it started with, by making other Riot products like Valorant and Arcane, the Netflix show. I'm not a League of Legends fan, but after watching Arcane, yeah,
still
I'll
haven't
play a
seen
fighting
it.
game of that. And I think League players are so ready for new concepts now, even more so than they were back when Valorant came out. And they're actually looking forward to seeing their favorite characters in a new setting. And on top of that, we have Game Pass. Riot recently announced with Xbox Game Pass, where if you own Game Pass, you're getting a few extra goodies on all Riot games. The Xbox market for fighting games is huge and very untapped. There are so many potential players on Xbox who don't even give the genre a shot, because fighting games that have no crossplay just arrive at
Yeah, personally, I know maybe one person that plays fighting games on Xbox. Outside of that, it's either PC or PlayStation. Even Switch. There's like one person in my chat that's like, yeah, I'm an Xbox player. A couple people on my YouTube comments that I've seen. But a majority of people are either on PlayStation or PC. So there is some truth in it being an untapped market. But how many would it be? We don't know.
Xbox dead. And if the game has crossplay, there will be a much bigger incentive to draw the Xbox crowd in, because they get a lot more from whatever they give away with Game Pass. It's no surprise that in the games industry, the biggest games end up influencing everything. When PUBG blew up, suddenly we had
that game was so fun when it first came out, and then they fixed all the bugs and it was terrible.
The market became saturated. Fighting games have had the same developers for a while: Capcom, Bandai Namco, Arc System Works, SNK, NetherRealm. It's very rare that a new player enters the game and joins the big names up there. If Project Well takes off, Project
W, let's go, Globku. No, you said it right. Project Well.
A fighting game. I would love to see more fighting games join the rotation. Yes, I just stole Cloud's tweet.
That's me. That's me. That's me right there. That's me. Ooh, what is it? What is it? The meme where he's like, ooh. That's me. That's me. I want to hear that one more time. Hold on. Hold on.
Arc System Works, SNK, NetherRealm. It's very rare that a new player enters the game and joins the big names up there. If Project Well takes off and does well, would that influence other IPs such as Overwatch, Apex Legends to make a fighting game? I would love to see more fighting games join the rotation. Yes, I just...
Well, I said... I was just thinking to myself, if Project L takes off and does well, would that influence other IPs such as Overwatch, Apex Legends to make a fighting game? If so, which IP would you like to see be made into a fighting game? I would love to see more fighting games join the rotation.
stole Cloud's tweet. This has already happened in fighting games with Smash. How many Smash clones came out thanks to Smash's success? Brawlhalla, Multiversus, Nickelodeon, Rivals of Ether, PlayStation All-Stars. Not all of them were a huge success, but it sure inspired other developers to pursue that, and some of those developers were pretty big names. But ultimately, this is why I think that Project L can, and most likely will, change fighting games forever. Not just because it will be a huge game on its own, but because it will influence the whole industry to follow through. With that said, I can't wait for Street Fighter 6. It's doing everything right, and I talk about it right here in this video. Also, Jamie drowns himself with his own drink.
Yeah, so Globku, great video, great points. Highly recommend you guys to watch this on your own time, even though we just went over it right now. But yeah, he hits a lot of good points, speaks some truth. Project L not feeling real. I feel like it's that we got a new update just a few days ago. It feels more real now because we know more about the game, we know more mechanics, we know how it's gonna play, right? We're getting closer to that beta, hopefully sometime next year. Please, great. All it takes is one Google search. You need Project L. Yeah, any comments, questions, or concerns, chat, before I end this that I can answer, or a topic of discussion you want to approach? But yeah, to just go back on that tweet I made that Globku covered. Yeah, it would be great if Project L does amazing, right? Like 200k average. I more. I hope my low ball to some people is wrong, and we do get that many players, and then other companies just think to themselves, you know, why don't we do that? Why do they have fight game and we don't? Let's make a fighting game. And then you have Overwatch, you have Apex, right? They're team-based games, so more than likely they would be a team fighter as well. They have enough characters to develop a fighting game with, right? Even if they have to go the 1v1 road. Overwatch has like what, 35, 40. Apex is like 30, 25 to 30. How much does Apex have? It's like around 25 or something like that. You think I would know this because of how much I play the game. They have a decent amount, and at this point they would have more characters if they were to decide to make one, or they can make original characters, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But let me know in the comments what kind of IPs you would want to see be made into a fighting game. It could be anything. It could be literally anything. You could have Five Nights at Freddy's, bro. I don't care. Just tell me what you think. Honestly, I'd be down something like a Warcraft fighting game. I'm calling now. Project L got 500k average monthly. Dude, that would be great. That would be a smashing success. Yeah, did you like his video? Yes. Yes, I did. Naruto fighters when? You already have Naruto fighting games. Diva versus Akubo. That'd be nuts. They have fan base they could try to introduce the game to. Yes, this is going to be a video, Chrome. Greyfish got it, bro. Yeah. Don't worry, dude. This video is so far under 20 minutes, and that's before cutting the fat out. Being generous, we get beta tests in the mid next year and game at the beginning of 24. I wouldn't say the beginning of 24, but like mid to end. Most anime games should have a fighting game. Most animes should have a fighting game. Well, I mean, you know, crossover would help. Yeah, but Naruto in the style of fighters. Damn, imagine if they made a Riot versus Blizzard, just like they have Wario versus Capcom. They could do crossovers like that too, right? That wouldn't be bad. What would we have here? I guess you could do Overwatch versus Apex Legends. It would be like the easiest, right? Because instead of having, you know, an okay size roster, then you could have a decent size to big size roster, right? Because now you're combining your characters. Yeah, that's why being generous, realistically speaking, we won't get it till 24 June. I don't know, man. So far, they only have like 4 characters or 5 characters that they've shown. And we don't know how done those characters are and how much everything else is done, like the audio. Alright, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, bros.